joined by Dessie Farrell and John Small to mark what's been a fantastic weekend for Dublin football in the most 2020 way possible, which is a virtual homecoming. Sadly, we can't obviously have a big crowd here to congratulate you both and the whole team on the huge success. I'm sure celebrations have been mooted this weekend because of everything that's gone on, but I hope you'll be able to look back now, a couple of days on now, and look back at what was a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, I think it's obviously a very unique set of circumstances, and playing an All-Ireland final a couple of days before Christmas. But it's going to be a great Christmas for sure. You know, I'm delighted for the players, and I've no doubt they'll get to rest up and enjoy the break in their own way.
And I'm sure you saw as well. Yes, on Sunday's game, the ladies winning the All-Ireland as well, so a fantastic weekend for Dublin football in general.
Yeah, it was brilliant for the ladies. It was a great match. It was very exciting. Watched it yesterday, so yeah, a very good weekend in the capital city, that's for sure.
John, I mentioned obviously there's no big grand homecoming that we've come to expect over the past number of years, and sadly this year obviously no fans were allowed in Croke Park either, so it's fans missing an awful lot over the past few weeks and months. How difficult was it playing in Croke Park, especially on All-Ireland final day, without the roar of the hill behind you?
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience. You think maybe some big moments in the game, the hill would have erupted, like Dean's goal early on, then sort of big plays, but we knew they're supporting us from home, and Dublin fans are amazing. They have our back all the time, so it's we know that they're there anyway.
And I know last year as well in Marion Square, and over the past number of years in Smithfield, the homecoming has been a major part of the celebrations, obviously, around winning the All-Ireland.
Yeah, and they are great celebrations, but just the times that we're in, we can't at the moment. But I hope all the Dublin fans get to enjoy it in their own way from home.
Dessie, I mentioned to you on Saturday evening, it was 53 weeks to the day that you were appointed as Dublin Senior Football Manager. What a 53 weeks it has been, a crazy 53 weeks. I mean, little did we all know back December 12 months ago what was coming down the line over the next 12 months. But it's certainly been a unique first year in charge of the senior footballers.
Yeah, little did we know it was right. It was very, very different to what we envisaged at the get-go, but look, it was the same for everyone, you know, the massive disruption, and life was obviously turned upside down for a lot of people, but sport equally, you know, it was again that sort of unique set of circumstances, but it was great to get the games back on, you know. For a period there we weren't sure. I can remember having Zoom calls with players and in the back of your head you're saying, is this not just a waste of time? Are we ever going to see light of day again? But thankfully we got to play and we got to do our thing, and again it was great credit to the players during that period, you know, because it wasn't easy, and I know every player all over the country were all in the same position, but that uncertainty was difficult to deal with, but the lads kept the show on the road and kept the head down and driving on.
You've had your fill of Zoom quizzes for the year, I hope.
Yeah, I won't miss Zoom calls, that's for sure. But look, it was all part and parcel of it, and it was a tough situation that we find ourselves in. You know, a lot of hardship, a lot of suffering, a lot of loss in all over the country, but obviously particularly Dublin City. You know, it was like a ghost town for weeks on end, and it's great to see a bit of life back in the place. And you know, we hope that. We look forward to 2020 with renewed optimism and hope. And
John, I hope you can appreciate, the team can appreciate the lift that you have given the city at this very difficult time. The fact that you're able to win All-Ireland yourselves and the ladies winning an All-Ireland and bringing a huge lift to the city over the past few days.
Yeah, it's amazing. I said the times that we're in, to be able to do anything to lift the city in that way is really, really special. I said, like, Dublin fans are the best fans, I think, in the country, so any way that we can make their life a bit special, and obviously with what's happened with ourselves and the ladies over the weekend, yeah, it's great.
Dessie, you came into the setup this year, obviously a hugely successful setup, and you've won an All-Ireland in the first year. What was it like stepping in to the setup and getting, you know, managing these players? I know you've managed a lot of them at underage level already, but what was it like stepping into the setup at senior level over the past year or so?
Yeah, look, it's just to be involved with Dublin football is a great honour, and as a player, as a coach of development squad teams or underage teams, it was I always felt it was a privilege, and felt the same 53 weeks ago or whatever it was. So it was fantastic to get to work with some of the players again and be reunited with them. As sort of very fortunate in my time to have watched a lot of these lads grow from young boys to young men, and that was a very privileged position to be in at that time, and delighted for their success over the years. And it was fantastic to, as I say, to get to work with them again this year.
And John, you played obviously with under Dessie at underage level. You've played with him now again this year. What's he brought to the setup this year that maybe wasn't there for the past 5 years before that?
Just like Dessie's been brilliant. It's a new voice, it's a new team. It's just change. I think James talked about it after the game. It's just a different dynamic for the group. It's a new team. There's new players this year, so it's never the same, and we're always evolving. But as I said, we've worked with Dessie all the way underage, since under 13 development squads, right the way through, and so he's a very special place in my heart as well.
You can't say anything else.
I'm just saying it's the end of the year now. You can be critical if you want to be. It's only a few weeks away to the next
Say
year.
what you really think.
Dessie, if you hadn't been in charge of the senior footballers, and if this had been a normal year, you would have been in Croke Park anyway on All-Ireland final day to mark the 25th anniversary of the 1995 All-Ireland win, of course. This year, sadly, the team couldn't be in Croke Park at the weekend, but hopefully they will get to be at some point in the future to mark the 25th anniversary of the 1995 win. As a player winning the All-Ireland senior football title, as a manager winning the All-Ireland senior football title, a big difference?
Yeah, a big difference. You know, obviously as involved in management, there's more responsibility in some ways, and there's probably more at stake as well. As a player, it was brilliant back in '95, but you have to just more or less look after yourself, and it's very different when you're sort of managing a group, and obviously they're a special group. That was a special team we played on. When you think of Jim Gavin and the service he's given to Dublin football, Pat Gilroy before him, and obviously Pat O'Neill was the manager at that time, and he played under the great Kevin Heffernan himself. So there's a rich vein there, and it's really strong tradition, and I think it's something that players are proud of, and you know, I have no doubt that the Dublin supporters are very proud of the fact that that lineage is there, if you like, and it's a great credit to all those people who have gone before us. I think that these players are able to do what they do when they show up.
John, it's been a pretty decent few months for yourself on the pitch. Ballymun-Kickham's winning the Dublin senior football title back in September. Only 3 months later, obviously Dublin winning the All-Ireland as well. So it's not been a bad few months for yourself.
Yeah, it's been really good. The club was really nice. We started out, we didn't, as Dessie said, like we didn't really know what was going to happen. And then when we got the club championship back, that was really good for us. So it helped us build into the inter-county season as well, and then that went well as well. So yeah, it's been a good year for me individually and for Ballymun and Dublin.
Des, we obviously don't know what's going to happen over the next few weeks and months with regards to the pandemic, but how much are you looking forward to maybe getting back to some sort of normality in the new year, and potentially with a new season only a few months away? Obviously, we're all looking forward to maybe having fans back in Croke Park and fans back in grounds again.
Yeah, it's we're sort of unsure as to what that's going to look like just at the moment. I think there was a schedule released very recently, but it looks like a different National League campaign this year, and maybe an earlier championship. So there's not going to be much time for rest, that's for sure. We're probably back at it in the new year, and but we look forward to it, and I think for players it's just about enjoying this time and enjoying their Christmas, and we'll get back at it when we need to. Yeah.
So you haven't been insisting on them back in training now this week ahead of 2021 just yet?
Yeah, I don't think I'd get a good response if I asked that. Yeah, but no, look, it's important. You know, unfortunately, not able to celebrate in the way you would like because of the circumstances. But it is important that players get time to reflect, and I know they continuously feel great gratitude for the opportunities and being in the privileged position they are, but it's nice for them to have time now and have a break and sort of hopefully come back recharged and re-energised, and we'll look forward to 2021.
Well, huge congratulations to you both. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Terry. Thank you.
Okay, joined by 4 in a row All-Ireland winning manager Mick Bohan and 4 in a row All-Ireland winning goalkeeper Ciara Trant. Thank you very much for joining us here today in the Mansion House. At the end of what's been an incredible year, Mick, what a way to end this year of years.
Yeah, we're obviously delighted. Surreal year in so many different ways, but just haven't been given the opportunity, I suppose, to go and play something that is our hobby, and obviously to be successful. We spoke over the last couple of weeks that, you know, maybe it'll only be in time that we'll really appreciate the value of what was achieved this year.
Ciara, I guess, like I say, it's different year this year compared to normal years. How have you marked the occasion? Because obviously maybe celebrations can't be as much as they have been in previous years.
Yeah, we were very lucky that the match was on in Dublin, that we got to go home and see our families straight after the game, spend a bit of time with them, which was fantastic. It meant a lot to them, seeing as they couldn't attend the game. And then we just met up as a team and just had quite intimate celebrations among ourselves.
For yourself, there hasn't been much break in terms of work. You're back in work already today, I believe.
Back in work already. It was just a little bit of a Christmas party with the students, so it was nice.
Nice way to end the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Mick, I guess, again, this year has thrown up so many challenges with everything that's gone on with the big breaks and with the lockdown and all that kind of thing. Is this year maybe stand out more than the other 3 previous years in terms of showing what the girls were made of and maybe pride in how they've carried themselves this year?
I remember way back in June, and I had a conversation with Sinead Ahern, our captain, and she made the point to me that the teams who have the most self-discipline will find themselves in the latter end of this competition. And the reason, I suppose, or the reasoning behind that was because essentially a large part of this was down to that. You know, like no matter how many Zoom calls you made or text messages you sent, it was ultimately down to what they were willing to do themselves. And we're very lucky. We've a lovely blend of experience and youth in the group at the moment. And on reflection, probably even within the last 48 hours, probably the biggest success that's taken place in the group is that the girls who've had that experience have become teachers to the younger girls, and they're passing on that knowledge. And that's just invaluable. Like I'd probably have to say in my coaching career, it's the first time that I've seen it firsthand, whereby so many people are just willing to share the little nuggets of information that they have, not just coaches, like players. And you know, there's something in that you'd love to pass on to other people for the future, that this is success. This is real success, not just trophies on a podium being handed over. That, you know, watching them in training sessions, you know, watching them in their meetings, like even though a lot of those were obviously going outside this year, just passing on those pieces of information of how they play or how they should do things a little bit better. And it obviously had to be kind of a rushed learning because the season was so short when we came back together.
Ciara, if you maybe have looked, you look at the record books, it's 4 in a row now. You would think that everything's been rosy for all these Dublin players over the past number of years since the start of your careers. You did have plenty of heartbreak as a Dublin player as well. 3 All-Ireland defeats in a row before this 4 in a row. How much did that build, I guess, character among the panel to lead you into the success that you've had over the past 4 years?
Yeah, I think it was vital. You really have to take a look at yourselves when you lose 3 in a row. To lose 1, okay, something might have gone wrong, but what was happening for 3 years in a row that we weren't getting over the line? So it did cause us to reflect a lot, and possibly has been the reason why we've dominated and made the 4 in a row, that we've learned so much about controlling the game and the process of the game, and educated us as players and as people as well. And that's been really important to our success, and we don't take any of it for granted. whether it was the first, second, third, or even this one now, there's no complacency within the group because we've gone through the heartbreak, and that's definitely made us stronger.
How much did you miss having supporters in the ground at Croke Park at the weekend, and how much have you missed supporters and your friends and family being at matches over the past few months?
It definitely took away from the occasion, and I didn't really feel it going out onto the pitch to do the warm-up or during the game. When we came back out after half-time, you could hear the extended management and extended panel cheering us up in the stands, and you know, I got a bit emotional hearing them, and it kind of resonated with me how much we were playing for them and how much they contributed this season. Just to have me on the pitch and the other 14 players on the pitch, it meant a lot. But it definitely hurt that families weren't there. That was a huge one, and my mum was so flustered the morning of the game, didn't know what to be doing with herself. And just to see her in the car park in DCU after the game and the emotions among everyone when we got home, it was really, really special. So I'm devastated that families couldn't go to the game.
Mick, last year we were here, and we were also in Merrion Square to mark the 3 in a row for yourselves last year. Obviously that can't be the same situation this year because of the COVID situation. We have this virtual homecoming, the most 2020 of homecomings that we could have had. But I guess last year, such a special day, it's disappointing not to have that this year.
Yeah, it is, and it isn't, because you know, it's a little bit like it's obviously different this year. But last year was incredible. Like, those coming out to those scenes was something I think, you know, we'll never forget. I'm not always sure you can replicate those days. So realistically, that didn't bother me, you know. And just to add on what Ciara was saying, like at the end of the game, there was things that were obviously hugely different. Not to be able to celebrate with the people who obviously support you, support us all, that facilitate us to do this. But to just have the group and everyone who was there, you know, had contributed. So that was special. And then on a personal note, just to be able to, we were the last team to play in Croke Park in 2020, and to be able to go over and lay a wreath over on Hill 16, just in commemoration of 1920, that was really special, because I'm not quite sure we would have been, or even if there was people there, that it would have been seen in a different light. Like, that was something just as part of our history as Irish people, that you know, we saw an opportunity. There was only one female killed in 1920, and it so happens that our great grand niece is in class with Muireann Scannell, who's a teacher, and that gave an opportunity. And you know, for us to just commemorate that, like, away from a crowd or anything else, just something that I thought it was kind of pure. And it was something that was important for us to do. So we got to do those things, you know what I mean, that are, so like, you have memories from every phase of your life for different reasons. I still, you know, I can, just at that period of time, probably with 5 or 6 minutes to go, I knew we had it, and I actually felt huge pride, because all of those feelings throughout the summer started to come back, because it was a really difficult time for everybody. I'm not trying to say that it was more difficult for the football team than it was for anyone else, but the reality being that, you know, it took an immense amount of work for them to get themselves in the shape they were, to play at the level they did in such a short period of time. So all those things, you know, they matter. And you know, when our days are done and we hang up our boots, well, mine are well hung up, but when they hang up their boots, they'll reflect on those days as really, you know, memorable, personal days, and I hope to do, because they've earned it. Like, and even though, you know, a lot of people like this weekend talked about the 6 in a row for the lads and the 4 in a row for the girls, this really was a standalone competition. This was like no other, and please God, we don't have to ever experience it again. But it really was a competition in its own right, because nobody had a roadmap coming into this as how to prepare for something like this in such a short period of time, where they'd come from individual work to club training, back to collective training, but not really collective, because you didn't have your dressing rooms and your meeting room facilities the same way as you did before.
Ciara, we're only a couple of days away now from Christmas. What is the plan? It's been a pretty hectic last few weeks and months in terms of the lead into Christmas. Normally you might be a bit more in celebratory mode or relaxing mode following the championship in September or wherever it might be. So what is the plan for the next couple of weeks?
I've already told everyone that we're watching the match back on Christmas Day instead of a movie.
You can't get away from it, can you?
No, it will just be brothers and sisters and family all together. My brother had a baby this year, so there's a bit of extra excitement in the house at that. We family abroad, so we'll at some stage do a Zoom call with them, probably after Christmas dinner. But it'll be low key, and I think that's not really a big deal in our house. I think we're just very appreciative to have everyone together and to be able to just sit back and relax in each other's company at last. So I am looking forward to it, absolutely.
Great stuff. Well, thanks a million for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, joined by the Lord Mayor of Dublin, Councillor Hazel Chu. Lord Mayor, thank you very much for having us here in the Mansion House today to celebrate what's been a remarkable weekend, obviously, for the Dublin men's and ladies footballers winning All-Irelands in both codes. First of all, this has been your home for the past number of months, a historic building. What's it been like to live here for the past number of months?
It's been surreal, to be honest, and more surreal today than any other day, mainly because for such history to be made with 6 in a row and with 4 in a row, we would normally have the teams coming here and we would normally have the fans coming here as well. So it's such a shame that we can't do it. So it's been definitely a surreal and tough year, and it's been a surreal and tough year for all. But I have to say, fair play to the men's and ladies football team for doing what they did. It's an incredible achievement.
Yeah, an incredible achievement. What does it mean for the city to see both teams doing so well consistently over the past number of years?
I think it's the sense of pride, the sense of hope also, especially during a time like this. I think people needed it and people needed the lift. Now, saying that, I have to say fair play to all the counties. It's been a tremendously tough year to play and to do any sport and have any activities. So the very fact that everyone played so well, the various counties did so well, just a massive congrats. And for the city itself to have 6 in a row and 4 in a row is unprecedented, and it's a moment we all should be proud of.
Obviously this year is so different to every other year because of the COVID situation. We're unable to have the homecoming that we've had over the past number of years in either Smithfield or Merrion Square like last year. We have a virtual homecoming here today in the Mansion House. I saw over the weekend the Samuel Beckett Bridge was lit up in lights to mark the All-Ireland wins as well. What else is the city doing over the next couple of days to mark the special achievement?
Well, as you said, the flags at the bridge, and I would say everyone celebrating at home themselves within social distancing guidelines, of course. But the city will be marking things in future, so there will be celebrations once it is safe to do so. But as you said there will be flags on the bridge, along the quays. There will be the Samuel Beckett Bridge, and hopefully in months to come there'll be more.
Yeah, and like I say, last year we had thousands upon thousands of people in Merrion Square. It's very different this year. It is disappointing, obviously, not to share this occasion with all the fans.
It is massively disappointing. Let's call a spade a spade. As a fan, I think most people I know would say, listen, it's another blow to the year. But then it's not something we should take away from either. It is a massive achievement, and I know many fans in the last 2 days have just been so proud at home, and it's a different type of celebration, and I think people are disappointed, but they also know this is what it is, this is what we have to do. And I'm incredibly proud of the fans, to be honest, because they also themselves know, listen, coming up to Christmas especially, we have to keep people safe. This is what we have to do as a nation.
This year, I guess, of all years, we've seen over the past number of weeks and months the importance of sport and how much of an outlet it has been for, well, the players to be able to train and play, but mostly for the fans to be able to watch and to support Dublin and every county all around the country over the past number of weeks and months. The importance of sport has been maybe shown more than ever this year.
Yes, and I think what we needed was an outlet for everyone, and you can see it in the local GAA clubs themselves. I went down to Crumlin recently, and it was so heartwarming seeing the volunteers, seeing the everyone from young teenagers to adults that were giving their time to volunteer and to keep the sports going, and that's what we needed. And to have the games going was what we needed as well, and to have people being able to cheer on their favourite players was definitely another piece that we needed. So all in all, it's been one of those years that I think sport played a huge part and will continue to play a huge part.
Obviously, we saw the men making history and extending their record on Saturday evening, but on Sunday afternoon, the Dublin ladies obviously won 4 in a row as well. You have a daughter, so what sort of example, I guess, is that set to children all over the city, all over the county, both boys and girls? Like I say, speaking from your daughter's point of view, to be able to look at the role models of the Dublin players were and are for them in schools all across the city.
I think even speaking from my daughter's point of view, but speaking from my own point of view, I would have grown up that all the sports would have been predominantly male-led. And as we came into the last decade or so, we started realising, well, you know what? Like, girls can play as well, so in some cases better, and that's something that we need to build for the future. So I'm delighted that Alex would have strong role models, and she does have strong role models across all sports. But if you look at our GAA clubs across the board, the girls that go to it, the girls that volunteer at it, the women that lead it, they're inspiring and amazing. If you look at Sinead O'Hearn and how she made history this weekend by bringing 4 in a row, that's not something people would have taught 20 years ago or 10 years ago, and it's amazing that we have it now, and it's amazing that we have to keep that going.
We spoke about no homecoming, sadly, this year in terms of the large crowds that we would normally see, but we also saw at the weekend there was no fans in Croke Park to cheer on both teams. I was lucky enough to be in Croke Park for both games, and the fans were hugely missed for both games. I guess this year showed the importance of the support and of the fans and what they bring to the occasion at matches and obviously after matches as well.
Absolutely, and I think it's what they bring also to the players and how they play as well, because it's a different type of game when you have fans cheering on and being there for you. So, like, I have to say, fair play to all the players. It comes down to the fact that it's been fantastic teams playing through the various matches, but also for the fans, it's been such a loss for them as well. They're like having that sense of community and camaraderie in the stadium itself. But, you know, the fans I've met all said, listen, this is what we've had to do. It's an absolute shame, and I wish I could be there, and I wish I was there for that moment, but you know, hopefully next year.
Lord Mayor, thank you very much for having us here at the Mansion House today.
Thank you, Derek, and hopefully we'll have the teams and the fans back in the coming months when I'm still here. So if not, I'm sure the next Lord Mayor will have them in then.
Okay, joined now by Carla Rowe here to mark this fantastic occasion, this All-Ireland final weekend and All-Ireland final success. Carla, I guess certainly for large periods of the year this year, it looked like there was going to be no championship at all, no return to football at all. How happy are you? Obviously, it's worked out very well for this Dublin team that there was a championship, but how happy are you, aside from that, I guess, having gone back, being able to go back to training, being able to go back to playing football over the past few months, and even in terms of maybe your family and your friends being that they have had something to cheer on for the last few months? How important has that been?
Oh yeah, very important. I think for us as people and players, and then even further than that, our families, and being able to give that to supporters. I know when even we were playing, or the other ladies' teams are playing, or the men were playing, you looked forward to sitting down and being able to watch those games. So I think it brought a lot to Ireland as a country. And then going back to our team, it was fantastic to have that the social side of it, never mind the football, being able to go up and to see other girls outside of your own home circle, and to know we were in such a safe environment as well that was provided with there was never any doubt when we were going up to training that there was risks taken or anything like that. So to have that through a very difficult year was fantastic, for me anyway, and I know for the rest of the team and the girls.
And Mick, I guess this year of all years showed how the importance of sport as an outlet for people. You know, we've all seen how much how much support can be given to sports teams all around the world, all around the country, especially over the past few weeks and months.
Yeah, hugely. And just it's interesting with the two girls that are here. Like if you look at that period of time where so much work had to be done on their own, Carla stepped up the weekend after Sinead, was taken off. She'd carried an injury into the game, and she took over the free taking and the penalty taking duty, and she'd 100% return. And Ciara's kickouts was 100% return. But that's so much of that is individualistic. Like they're specific jobs. That's not a collective thing. You have to go away and get that right on your own before you present it back to the group. So all of those things are admirable during such a difficult time, that they were actually able to have the mental strength to go away and work on that stuff as players.
I mentioned to Ciara, Carla, that we're obviously playing in Croke Park. Without supporters there, and as Mick mentioned there, you had a pretty major part to play in the weekend success. How did you find it? One of the strange things I found from Croke Park over the past few weeks has been the run out of the tunnel, and when you usually have you have the sound of the music coming out, and you usually have a massive roar when you come out of the tunnel, and obviously there was no roar there this year. And even after Aaron Naveen, I've never heard Aaron Naveen played to its entirety before, really. How did you find being involved and obviously having these big pressure kicks as well in front of an empty Croke Park?
Much like Ciara, I think once you get out there and start that warm-up, all of that kind of is an outside circle. So whether there was crowds there or not, sometimes you just switch off to that and you have to know that you're in the moment and you're playing the game. It was strange. I do always love the running out of the tunnel and kind of just taking that moment to appreciate it and take in the crowds, and looking over the past couple of years and seeing the Cusack stand being filled. So that is a pity to miss that, but I think it was just a different year and it was a different way. We were able to hear each player from Ciara to the full forward line on the pitch. You could hear management. So in ways there's negatives to it, but we also had to look at the positives. So different, but I think something we'll forever remember.
Mick, I mentioned to the girls beforehand, they were both involved in the 3 defeats, 3 All-Ireland defeats in a row before that. They didn't really want to talk about that too much. They didn't want me to remind them about that. But how important were those defeats in your opinion? Obviously you weren't there for them, but how important was it for them to build a character that we've seen over the past 4 years? When things get tough, you lost Sinead Ahern at half-time at the weekend, obviously. She was taken off injured, she was taken off during the game. When things have gotten tough over the past few weeks, past few months, past few years even, the character has shone through over the past, in that time. And how important were those defeats that they suffered in the 3 previous years to that?
Well, I suppose the first part of that is when we came in 2017, we were in danger of losing 4 or 5 key players in that group because of the defeats. And had that taken place, I'm not quite sure we'd be looking back the same way as we are now. Because players like Lindsay, Sinead Ahern, Goldie, that group, Niamh McAvoy, who, they had put in quite a few years on top of the 3 that they had lost. And if they were gone, you just lose an incredible amount of knowledge, with not just the ability and that whole cycle to pass on and learnings and whatever else. And even the other night I was listening to Sinead just talking to Carla about how proud she was of her, of taking on the mantle of stuff, because it isn't just you slip into someone's shoes. It doesn't happen like that. So all of those things. So that was the first part, that they stayed, right? The second part then was essentially, of course, they learnt from the previous defeats, and the biggest thing that they had to address was themselves. That even though you could put it down to Cork, or you could put it down to Croke Park, or the colour of their jersey, or the wind was blown, that wasn't. It was themselves. What were they not doing right themselves? And once they got the practicalities of that, and we went back over the things that had failed them, well then all of a sudden we were able to start solving part of the puzzle. So huge, yeah. I mean, it gave us a roadmap to start on, and that's the best thing to have. So ultimately now, they solved an awful lot of their own problems this year, and probably more so than before, because they were a very quiet bunch when we came in 2017. You wouldn't say that about them now at all. They're actually It's a lovely home when you walk into the group now, where they're talking to each other, they're solving problems. Most of the time at half time, they're able to tell us before we even come back to them with stuff, whether it's from stats or anything else. So that's when education is working.
Carla, this might be difficult for you to answer because you're one of the role models that I'm going to be talking about here, but how important is it for girls all around the country and all around the city here in Dublin especially at the moment to have role models like yourselves being so successful, being so driven, doing things so well over the past few years? How important has that been? Have you seen that yourself when you're out dealing with training kids out there and training young girls out there? Have you seen that maybe that their eyes light up because they have these role models now?
Yeah, I think it's vital, like to women and to sport, that you have those role models. When we were growing up, you maybe had 3 or 4, but getting the sport out there and putting female athletes out there on that platform has been fantastic. And even I'm from a small village in the Naul, and like the kids, I know them and I see them every day, but when they come up we might have open trainings and they want to come up and get a picture signed, I'm like, I see you only a week ago in training. So yeah, it's just for young people to be able to look up, to have role models or superstars and ambitions to try and be like them. And whether it's Dublin or Cork or Kerry or Meath, they're really important. And for sport, it's such a brilliant thing in people's lives. So to be able to also bring role models and sport together is fantastic.
Mick, obviously a good weekend for both the ladies and for the men's. A brilliant weekend for Dublin football and brilliant for years for Dublin football, I guess, but certainly this weekend showed all that's good with Dublin GA at the moment.
Yeah, fantastic. It's in a great place. What I'd love when our time is done and we step away, what I'd love to see has come out of all of this is that we see young girls and young boys in the same light. I'm not quite sure we still do. And as Sinead Ahern keeps reminding me, we can't ever compare them until we invest the same way in them. And that's so true, because, I mean, if you look, in most clubs, the majority of the better coaches end up with the lads' teams. And therefore, a girl comes through a whole section of her life where she should be developing skills the exact same as a young boy. She doesn't end up kicking the ball right. We leave her with 1 foot rather than 2 feet, and then we put them out at inter-county level, at the highest level, and then we compare them. That's not comparable. It's not comparable now. So really treating them the same, us having the same expectation from a boy and a girl. Obviously there's going to be differences in strength or otherwise, but skill shouldn't be a factor. Skill should be the same. We should treat that the same way, right? And if we do that in our lifetimes, or during my lifetime, then the whole thing has been a success. Forget about trophies or medals. Then all of a sudden, like I've 3 daughters and a boy, and I'd like to think, I'm not quite sure this is the way, that they feel that they're treated the same, whether they're a boy or a girl. And that's a mindset thing. Like, not, it's wet and windy outside, you go to football with the boys, but you wouldn't go with the girls. No, that's not good enough. Like, it should be exactly the same way. And if this group changed that mindset, that, you can play the game at a real high intensity, you can score from distance, you can catch a ball in the air, blocking or tackling is par for the course. If they change that mindset amongst young girls, I think they've given a great service for the game.
Carla, finally, it's only been a couple of days since the All-Ireland win. I don't want to look too far ahead already, looking at 2021 already, but I'm going to finish off. It is only a few weeks until maybe the resumption of inter-county training. What's your plan for the Christmas period, and I guess looking ahead into 2021?
Yeah, it's funny to think it's only a few weeks. I suppose just enjoy the next couple of weeks. It's going to be with close friends or family this year, so making sure that I'm just enjoying that. I've kind of missed out a bit on time through the pandemic and through football. You're kind of chasing yourself around every day to get from work to football, so I suppose to just take a backward step and relax and enjoy the simple moments with family. And then after that, looking forward to getting back a bit earlier, less of a break this year. So as I said, always taking the positives. I suppose you don't have as much time to get as unfit coming back into a pre-season. So we look forward to that.
And the same for yourself, Mick. What's the plan for the next few days and weeks?
Yeah, I think I owe a few people at home a few hours at this stage. But like everyone, I genuinely am looking forward to putting the feet up over the Christmas and taking stock on what's been a difficult but obviously a fantastic year in some way. And I'm looking forward also to our nation moving forward in January as the vaccine gets dished out and we all take our turn. I think we've been particularly good in the way we've dealt with it. Now it's going to take a little bit of discipline to wait for our line in the queue.
Well, best of luck. Merry Christmas to both of you as well.
And to you.
Likewise.
Thank you very
Alright.
much.
What's the big thing you miss after the match? Like coming to the house, our side would be that we miss having the players here, having the manager here. But what about from yourselves? Like, how would you?
The big thing I miss was not having our family there after the game. Like, it's a special moment for them as well. Like your parents, brothers, sisters, wives, girlfriends, all not being there to share in the moment. Now, it's really special. You get to spend it with just the group, but it's nice to be able to extend that out to your family as well. So not having them there was something I probably missed.
Yourself, Eddie?
Yeah, I think that was like it's tough not being able to, because players work so hard and are so dedicated. Part of it is being able to enjoy the moments then when they come around or when the opportunities. But obviously, it's very different this time around, and the celebrations are somewhat mooted. It doesn't necessarily take from it at all, but it's tough for players for sure, and definitely, as John mentioned, tough on the families, you know, because they couldn't get to be there at the game, and it's such a big part of players' lives, but their families' lives as well, and for them not to be able to share in it was tough, you know. So it's I think we spoke about it beforehand. It was focus for us as well was sort of bringing that joy and for the families, even though they couldn't be there with us.
What did your mum and dad say when you won?
No, my mum was delighted. So no, it was really, really special, and like she was just ecstatic. Like, 'cause my brother's on the team as well. So yeah, so she was quite proud. It was the first one he started, so that was very nice for him as well. Like, so yeah, she was delighted over the moon.
I've had a good few fans. I think even last year there were people banging down the doors asking about celebrations and saying what we were doing. This year, people have been just sending kind of congratulatory messages. But is there something you wanted to say back to them, or is there, because I think a lot of people go through this office to just say, oh, it'd be great to see the team, it'd be great to see everyone. Is there any message you want to pass on to them?
But look, I think it's been well documented, the relationship between Dublin fans and Dublin supporters and the Dublin team itself, you know, and we feel very privileged to have such great, loyal and dedicated support. Hill 16 is amazing, the fans, like it makes the occasion really, really special, and it was so disappointing not to have that this year, you know, and we all understand why, of course, but it's just everyone in Dublin who's loyal and dedicated to the cause of Dublin GAA through the clubs, the schools. It's a special occasion, and in many ways the victory on Saturday is dedicated to all those people who put in the hard work and the effort and those selfless hours that we're all very fortunate to benefit over the years.
I have to say thank you for the hours. I was down in GAA Crumlin recently, just handing out scrolls to the teenagers who were volunteering. It was incredible to see the amount of hours they put in, and then see the kind of 4-year-olds running around doing the sport. But that can only continue because of the volunteers. But that is also spurred on and motivated by yourselves, by people being able to see you play so well and win and bring so much joy and pride to the county. So I have to say a massive thank you to you both, and to all the players as well, but also to all the volunteers on the ground. So it's a pleasure to have you here, and I wish it was under different circumstances.
Sure, thank you very much.
Very much. Thank
It's always an honour and a privilege, so and thanks for having us today as well, Lord Mayor.
And hopefully you'll be back in a few months. So, and it'll be different type of celebration then. But well done.
Thank you.
you.
Thanks a million. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Well, Ciara, Carla, thanks for coming here today, and massive congratulations. It's incredible to have you guys here 4 in a row. So tell me how you're feeling, apart from head sore.
Very happy. Head sore, body sore, but you know, in spirit, never been better.
Yeah. You wake up and you're like, what part of me hurts now after the game? But yeah, the winning takes over all that, so it's okay.
Well, body hurting, how much training goes into it? Like, how long have you guys been doing this? And like we were just saying there that you started at 12. So what kind of training is it every day, every week?
Yes, so I suppose you're doing something every day. You mightn't be training, but we're 4 nights a week together collectively as a group. So 1 night in the gym, and then 3 nights on the pitch. Let's say Wednesday, Friday, and a weekend day. So you could be up there for 3-4 hours, and maybe weekends a little bit longer. So a lot goes into it, and particularly this year, we've been training like a full year come now, because we started in January, and with the whole pandemic it extended, so we're training a full year now, which is strange.
Fair play. Well, that's the thing, Ciara. How has the pandemic kind of changed things? And how like, it's been tough, I say, with the training, with kind of thinking you weren't able to play, or thinking it's not happening. How did the whole game change, and how did it feel when you guys won?
There was actually moments during the year when we had like a team Zoom call, and at that stage the country had gone into another lockdown, and we were thinking, you know, we might not ever get to play football or see each other as a group ever again. And when it finished, everyone was crying. Our group chat was just, you know, I love you, I miss you. A few cameras were turned off because of the tears, and it kind of hit us like how much we value each other, football aside, completely. So then when we did get to come back together, we were just so grateful. Okay, we don't get to spend as much time collectively with each other in the dressing room because we're separated into pods, and then after training you just leave. Yeah. So the social aspect is kind of tapered back a good bit, so that when we are together we really do cherish it and value each other's friendships maybe a lot more, or made us realise how much we value each other a lot more because of the pandemic. So yeah, like, there are huge negatives to it, but we're very appreciative of the positives of being able to go to training when the rest of the country has to sit at home, and being able to see your closest friends when nobody else can. We definitely recognise how lucky we are.
I think, like, even some years you might be going to training in the dark and you'd be like cold, you'd be tired, you could think of nothing worse, and not one evening did I feel that this year going to training, even though it was the winter and it was the worst time for us to be playing championship football, to be able to go out and to see the girls and be there, albeit that we weren't even socialising as much. It was fantastic to have that, like.
But it sounds like that's the thing. Anyone I spoke to about GAA or any type of sport have said that it's that community. It's being able to actually play together and being able to interact has been so important. So, and it's amazing to see you guys win then with all those challenges as well. So it must be an incredible feeling to hold the cup. So.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, like, it's fantastic to be able to know that we finished it off where you want to, which is the winning part. But I think it's the fact that we're all like friends beyond football players, and it's a great bunch to be a part of, and that goes as far as management as well. Yeah. You know, we're very lucky, the bunch that we have together, and to be able to top that with winning is brilliant.
I was just saying to a few friends that I was meeting you guys today, and they were there going, it's brilliant that, like, apart from 4 in the row, that you guys are role models for the next generation of girls. Like, I have a little one who's 3, and I'm thinking, oh, I'll be sending her to the GAA club. And I guess from what I want to know from yourselves is, what will you say to the next generation of girls, like, who are looking to get into this, or who might be a little reluctant to get into this? So what would you do what will you say to encourage them to say, listen, it's a fair playing field for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just about encouraging them to try everything, whether it's GAA or soccer or athletics or, you know, something that's not even a sport, just to get involved in a club, because the friendships you make and the social side of it and the skills you pick up regardless of what it is, I think if you try everything, you'll find what best suits you. And the younger generations are very lucky now that they can find a role model wherever they want. They get to choose who their role model is. It doesn't have to be Sonia O'Sullivan, or it doesn't have to be Katie Taylor, or, you know, for me it was Denise Masterson. Like, there was a very small group when we were growing up of women to pick from, but now you get to, like, there's so many heroes or inspirational women out there that you can meet, that you can see, that you can research and do a school project on, that you can be inspired by. And I think the girls are very, very lucky. So my advice is always just try everything, get a taste for everything, and you'll eventually find your feet in whatever suits you the best.
I suppose for me, go out and have fun. Same as what Ciara said, try everything, and whatever you enjoy the most, you love. I know for me, I found Gaelic a bit later in life, but the fact that I just loved it was I just wanted to, every single day I wanted to be out with a football. And once you love something, you're going to give it 100%. You'll love going to it, you'll enjoy it, and that's when the best will come out in you or a sports person. So enjoy what you're doing, and yeah, try everything.
I have to say, when Ciara said role models, there's a whole team of you that are brilliant role models. I'm really proud. Like, it's great to have yourselves in here, because I think, if anything, it's a testament, like the other teams who played for their counties, they've done so well, but seeing yourselves win 4 in a row and seeing you build to that championship, I have to say it's incredibly heartwarming. And also, as the Lord Mayor of Dublin, and for the city and fans, I have to say a massive thank you, because they've been all emailing saying, oh, are we doing something in the Mansion House to celebrate the players? And I was there going, well, we can't right now, but maybe in the future. But it was all about asking whether they can celebrate with yourselves, whether they can congratulate yourselves. I think everyone in Dublin is massively proud of what you have all achieved, so thank you so much.
Thank you.